Before we begin, subscribe, like, and comment if you think you've ever seen something watching you from the dark. Some stories stay with you long after the screen fades. It was almost 2 a.m. when it happened. A cold, empty street in Seattle, streetlights humming, quiet enough that you could hear your own footsteps. A man named Evan was walking home from his late shift. He had done this hundreds of times before. Same route, same distance, same silence. Nothing unusual, nothing threatening. Just the stillness of a city that had already gone to sleep. But halfway down the block, he noticed someone on the opposite sidewalk. A man. Tall, thin, dressed in plain clothes. Slacks, a buttoned shirt. Nothing strange about his clothing. What was strange was his posture. His body was angled forward, like he was leaning into a joke only he could hear. And his smile, wide, too wide, unmoving. At first, Evan tried to ignore him. A late-night stranger wasn't uncommon in the city, but then the stranger began to walk. Not a normal step, not a stumble. Something in between. Slow, exaggerated steps, like a performer on a stage no one else could see. His arms swung loosely at his sides. His chin tilted slightly toward the ground. But his eyes, if they were open, never broke that fixed, unnatural smile. Evan crossed the street to put distance between them. The stranger changed direction instantly, without hesitation. Not running, not rushing, just matching him. Silent, smiling. No words were spoken. No gestures exchanged, just the sound of footsteps on pavement. When Evan turned the corner, he expected the man to continue straight, but he didn't. The stranger followed. Same distance, same rhythm, same unbroken smile. Evan's heartbeat picked up. His breath grew shallow. The street felt longer than usual. He tried to act calm, hands in his pockets, head forward. But the sense of being studied, observed, imitated, clung to him. At the next intersection, Evan slowed, just enough to glance back. The smiling man had stopped, completely still, standing under the streetlight, smile unchanged. His head tilted, slightly, as if curious whether Evan would continue. Evan looked away and walked faster. He didn't run. Something in him said, "Don't run." Running would acknowledge fear. Running would make this real. Running might make the smiling man follow differently. So he walked. Every few seconds, he checked behind him. The man remained in view, walking when he walked, stopping when he stopped. Like he was performing a synchronized routine only the two of them knew. When Evan finally reached his apartment building, he fumbled with his keys. He gave in. He looked back one more time. The smiling man stood at the end of the block. Not approaching now, just watching, almost as if he was satisfied. Evan got inside, locked the door, went to his window. The street was empty. For a while, Evan said nothing to anyone. He didn't report it. He didn't tell friends. He wanted to believe it was just a strange person, a bizarre encounter, something that happens once. But it didn't happen just once. A few days later, Evan saw a thread online. Someone described the same man, same posture, same movements, same smile. Different part of the city. Then another person. Then another. Then another. Dozens of accounts. Different towns. Same description. There was only one question that mattered. How many smiling men are there? Evan didn't sleep much in the days after the encounter. His mind kept replaying the streetlight, the footsteps, that impossible smile. He tried to convince himself it was just an odd person, someone intoxicated, someone acting out. But late at night, When the world quieted down, the thought returned. What if it wasn't just a coincidence? One evening, unable to shake the memory, he opened his laptop and typed in a few words. Man smiling at night, walking strange. The search didn't return jokes or memes. Instead, it showed posts. Long ones, detailed ones, some recent, some going back several years. Different cities, different people, different times. Same description. A young woman in Portland had written about walking home from a concert. She saw a man on the sidewalk who seemed to be talking to himself, body swaying gently, smiling wide. When she crossed the street, he crossed too. When she slowed, he slowed. When she ran inside a store, he remained outside, smiling, watching, until she called security. The moment others approached, he walked away calmly, like nothing had happened. A college student in Chicago described being followed down 3 blocks by a man who moved with exaggerated theatrical steps, arms swinging too freely, smile fixed like carved plastic. The student said he didn't speak, not a word, even when confronted. He simply stood there, grinning, as if trying to remember how to appear human. A couple in Denver claimed they saw someone matching the same behavior standing perfectly still under a bus stop shelter at 3 a.m. Just standing, smiling up at the streetlight like it was telling him a secret. It wasn't just one man, or if it was, he was appearing in places he couldn't reasonably travel between. The details grew stranger the more Evan read. People observed that the smiling man never reacted when spoken to. He didn't acknowledge threats, didn't respond to humor, didn't defend himself. He just stood or walked, always smiling, as if everything he did was part of something rehearsed. Thousands of comments tried to explain it away. Performance art, drugs, a viral prank, mental health issues, a conspiracy to scare people. But one reply, buried deep in a thread, said something different. It was posted by a night security guard who claimed to have seen the smiling man inside the building he worked in. Standing at the end of a hallway, facing the camera, smiling gently under flickering fluorescent lights. The guard wrote that the man walked like he was dancing to distant music no one else could hear. The guard didn't approach him. The man didn't move closer. He simply stood, smiling, as if waiting. In his statement, the guard said he felt something he could not explain. Not fear exactly, but a deep, instinctive sense that he should not get any closer. That he was witnessing something he wasn't supposed to understand. Evan realized the worst part wasn't the man's behavior. It was how normal people reacted to him. No one chased him. No one grabbed him. No one tried to stop him. Everyone who encountered him described the same reaction. I just wanted to get away. As if some quiet part of the human brain recognized something was wrong. Something not quite human, not supernatural, just wrong. Then, one night, scrolling through yet another thread, Evan found something that made his breath stop. Someone had posted a blurry phone picture taken through a bus window. The streetlights blurred across the glass. The figure was distant and shadowed, but the posture was unmistakable. Leaning forward, arms loose, smile fixed wide, and the street sign behind him showed Evan's neighborhood. The smiling man had been seen 2 blocks from his apartment. Evan stared at the photo for a long time. The more he looked, the more his chest tightened. The street sign in the background wasn't just nearby. It was on the exact route he walked home every night. Same block, same lamppost, same intersection. The person who posted the photo had written just 3 words. Does anyone know him? No one did. The next few days, Evan changed everything about his routine. He took different routes, left work earlier, avoided quiet streets. He even considered moving. But there's a strange thing about fear. Sometimes, the more you try to avoid something, the more your life begins to bend around it. It was a Tuesday night when it happened again. Evan had to work late. By the time he stepped outside, the air was cold and the sky was the kind of dark that seems too big, too empty. The sidewalks were quiet. His breath came in small clouds. He kept his head down and walked fast. Block after block, street after street. No one else around. Until he heard it. Not footsteps, not breathing, just a faint, rhythmic tap. The sound of a shoe touching pavement with careful exaggeration, like someone taking slow, playful steps. Evan didn't want to look, but fear makes silence loud. He turned. At the end of the street, under the yellow cast of a streetlight, stood the smiling man. Same posture, same clothes, same frozen expression. He wasn't walking yet, just standing, watching. Smile gentle and wrong in a way that the mind can't quite process. Evan's throat tightened. His instincts told him to go inside a building, knock on a door, call someone, anything. But something kept him still, like a thread pulling tight between them, like if he moved too suddenly, something would break. The smiling man began to walk. Slow, unblinking, like before. But this time, Evan recognized something he hadn't noticed the first night. The smiling man wasn't smiling at him. He was smiling through him, as if Evan was just a spot where something else was standing. Evan started backing away. His heartbeat pounded in his ears. He didn't run, couldn't run. For several long seconds, the two of them just moved, one forward, one backward, across an empty street. Then from across the block, another pair of footsteps echoed. A second man stepped into view. Same posture, same slow movements, same smile. No words. Another footstep from behind. Evan didn't turn. He didn't have to. He knew. There was more than one. This wasn't one person following random strangers. This was a pattern, a behavior, a performance. Whether it was imitation, ritual, or something else entirely, there were too many accounts, too many cities, too many identical descriptions. Evan backed toward the nearest doorway, hand shaking as he grabbed the handle and ducked inside the apartment building lobby. The door clicked shut behind him. He looked out the glass. The first smiling man had stopped at the curb. He didn't try the door, didn't change his expression, didn't lose interest. He simply waited. Not like a predator, more like a reminder. Evan called the police. They arrived, searched the area, and found no one. No footprints, no tire marks, no sign anyone had been outside at all. The officer who took the statement looked tired, like he'd heard something similar before, but couldn't say it. Evan didn't walk home at night anymore. He moved apartments, then cities, but he still checks the street every time he steps outside after dark. Not because he expects to see someone, but because he knows he could. And he is not alone. Reports continue. Different states, different neighborhoods, different suburbs. Someone walking strangely. Someone smiling too wide. Someone following quietly at night. No confrontation. No violence. Saint presence. And every witness describes the same feeling. They didn't think to scream. They didn't think to fight. They just wanted to get away. As if the fear isn't learned, it's recognized. Like something ancient inside the human mind already knows. Not everything that looks like a person is one. If this story unsettled you, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe before the night gets quiet.